Hey folks, today I thought I'd talk about ruminal acidosis and managing the risk for that when you're turning animals out to corn stalks. The first thing I'll talk about is what is ruminal acidosis, just real basic. I'm not a ruminant nutritionist, I'm not a veterinarian, so this is a real basic introduction. But it's for ruminants when they have a sudden increase in the amount of soluble carbohydrates in their diet. The rumen, the gut biome, can become very acidic and can get acidic to the point where it will actually damage the animal and even kill the animal. If you've ever worked in a feedlot before and seen a feed mixture get mixed up and seen a mass die-off, there's other things that can cause it for sure, but one of the things that can cause it is ruminal acidosis. Now, what does all of that mean in simple terms? For today's topic, animals that don't even know what corn is suddenly have a lot of corn available just in the environment because we're turning them out to corn stalks. And if you don't manage that risk, you do run the risk of injuring animals or even killing them. So let's talk about the risk mitigation steps that you can take, or at least that I take, I should say, to mitigate that risk of ruminal acidosis when I'm turning animals out on the corn stalks. These animals are coming off a pasture. A lot of them don't even know what grain is. They've never seen it before. If you just turn them out here, they will figure it out pretty quick, and they will go around and they'll find every little bit of corn that they can everywhere and run that risk of ruminal acidosis. So one of the things that I do is about 4 to 5 days before I intend to move that group out onto corn stalks, I do actually start feeding some grain. I usually start at about 1/8 of a pound per head per day. I do that for 1 day, then 1/4 of a pound per head per day for a couple of days, and then step it up to a 1/2 pound per head the day before they're going to come out. What that does is allow it to be a little bit more of a gradual introduction. I do that in conjunction with these other risk mitigation measures. So as far as how quickly you can step up and what level you need to step up to, that's going to vary based on what other measures you also take and just generally your environment and your situation. Another step that I take, and you can see it right behind me here, is we don't give them access to all of the corn stalks all at once. We have 80 acres of corn stalks that I can utilize here. We're going to start them off on about 12 acres. And eventually we will use the entire 80 acres. And it goes all the way across here to that far tree line on the top of the hill over there. And every couple of weeks, when they first come out here, they'll only have access to this portion back here, about 12 acres worth. Over the coming weeks, every couple of weeks, we'll move the fence, so 100, 150 yards further out and further out and further out every couple of weeks. That serves a couple of different purposes, but the one that we're talking about today is to mitigate that risk of ruminal acidosis. Because if you do turn them out and those goats figure out what corn is, they will go, and I've seen this happen, they will go walk all over this thing, finding every little kernel of corn that they can on the first couple of days. If we limit their access, they can only go around on this part right here and do that. And the last risk mitigation step that I take, and this is probably the one that if you already know about this, you're asking why am I not doing this? And well, I am. I was just getting to it at the end here. And that is I put out sodium bicarbonate, baking soda in other words. I just put it in a second mineral feeder and they have free choice access to it. I do that before they even come out here. So they'll be, when we're ramping their feed before they even come out here, I'll put it out. And then I also put it out here for the first couple of days when they first come out here. And then every time that we move that fence, I also put it out for a couple of days after moving that fence. Sodium bicarbonate or baking soda is a base. And we talked about ruminal acidosis. Their gut biome becomes very acidic. They will self-treat with that sodium bicarbonate if they need to. I do not leave the sodium bicarbonate out all of the time because I have found that it suppresses mineral uptake, that they will choose to get their sodium fix from the sodium bicarbonate instead of going to the mineral, and over time that can lead to other problems as well. Oh, one last thing that I almost forgot to mention. When I'm out here putting up the fence and everything before they even come out here, another thing that I do is kind of drive around a little bit, and I'm looking for spills, basically big piles of grain where if one goat comes across it, they're just going to gorge themselves and kill themselves on it. I didn't have any big enough piles to be worth cleaning up this year, but I have in the past. I'll just pick those up with a shovel and put them into an old feed bag or an old bucket or something like that. End up, feeding it to the chickens or something. So there you go. There's kind of the steps to mitigate the risk of ruminal acidosis, of injuring or killing animals from ruminal acidosis when I'm turning them out to corn stalks. I may not need to do all of these steps. I may not have to do them the same way that I currently do them. But to me, none of these steps are terribly difficult to do. And they basically, in my experience, drop that risk to zero. I haven't had any lost animals or significant injuries to animals from ruminal acidosis in the 6 years now that I've been turning them out on corn stalks every winter, or every fall going into the winter. As like I indicated there, we're going to be doing this. They're going to be out here for the next several months. If you do have other questions about how I manage them out here, or nutritional concerns or things like that, we will probably get to talking about those in future videos. But if you do have specific questions, be sure to put them down in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them. And if they're good enough questions, I'll even make a whole video about them.